What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of PSR. Today we are going to look at the Voxelab Aquila S2. Aquila? I think that's how you say it. It's a printer from Voxelab. They sent this to me a couple months ago, and I'm finally just getting to the review. But first I gotta thank the channel sponsor for Print Shoot Repeat, and that is CAC, which means poop in a bunch of different languages, but it's not poop. It's actually very competitively priced and high quality AR parts made right here in the USA. KAK Industry has been at it for just over 10 years, and they are supporting me, and they love 3D printing, so we want to give them a big shout out. So please go check out their site. I can't list it here, but it's KAK Industry, and if you want 10% off your order with the code PSR, go ahead and do that. It will help support the channel. So thank you again to KAK Industry. So as you know, YouTube cracked down on me really hard recently because I make 3D printing content, and that 3D printing content has to do with 3D printing guns, which is completely legal here in the United States. But regardless, YouTube really doesn't like it, so I've had to kind of step away from the 3D printing content more recently because I have 2 strikes on my channel, which is obviously kind of scary if you are a creator on YouTube and you've built a channel of 330,000 subscribers, and when that gets threatened to get taken away, it's obviously kind of stressful, but it's beside the point. We are actually going to be talking about something 3D printed related today, and hopefully YouTube will allow it on their platform because it's not anything to do with guns. It's just a 3D printer, guys. I know that's scary, but we're just talking about a 3D printer today. So YouTube content moderator, my boy, please, just while you drink your soy latte, think twice before striking me for this video. So recently I've been kind of hesitant of doing a lot of 3D printer reviews because they never do very well on this channel, and I want to obviously get views, and I want to be entertaining you guys. I know this maybe isn't as entertaining, and it's more informative and gives you kind of my take on certain products. This is a product that was sent to me by Voxelab for free, so with that out of the way, that is the disclosure there. I didn't get paid by them, but they did send me this printer for free. So there's your disclosure. Without further ado, let's talk about this printer. So the Voxelab Aquila S2, I'll just call it the S2 from here on out, is essentially similar to a Ender 3 V2. It's actually kind of looks like a almost direct clone of it. However, it adds a couple really nice features that the V2 doesn't have, and it comes in at a price that's very competitive compared to the V2. The main upgrade that's offered with this printer is a high temperature hot end. So the Ender 3 V2 can only go up to 260 at the nozzle, which is fine for doing PLA and stuff like that, but when you get it up higher and you add direct drive, which is what the S2 does, you get to a 300 degrees Celsius hot end and direct drive, which allows you to use more advanced materials like TPU and carbon fiber nylon and other nylons, which is a really big plus. The other feature this printer adds over the Ender 3 V2 is a PEI coated flexible magnetized build plate. So it is a magnetic surface and it's PEI coated, meaning it should stick really well to the print. You can just take that thing off without having to unhook anything. There's no clasps that hold the bed down. You just pull that sucker off and then kind of bend it, and then you can pop your print off pretty easily. The build plate is also double-sided, so you can use both sides, which is kind of cool. Now, like the Creality Ender 3 V2, which is my favorite printer for what I do, the Voxelab S2 includes a resume printing function, which is always helpful. I've had times when the power has gone out, and you can get, a way to have external power so that doesn't ever happen and it doesn't affect your printer. But if you don't have that, when the power goes out, sometimes you can be SOL, and your print that maybe was like 99% done won't get finished because the power went out. Well, when you have a resume power, it remembers exactly where that printer was when it got powered off, and then comes back and finishes your print, which is always nice. The other benefit of the S2 is that it's pretty open source, and the parts are there are a lot of ways to upgrade it, just like the Ender 3 V2, because it's kind of based off the same platform essentially. For what it's worth, there's also a Voxelab lifetime technical support and 12-month warranty with this printer, which is always really nice, and they say that they will give a 24-hour quick response if you have any issues with it. So I have not tested that, but that's a nice thing that they offer. So what does this printer cost? Well, this might be hard to believe, but right now Amazon's doing a Prime deal on it, and it's for Prime members, it's $189, which is insane for the amount of features that you get. That's basically like $100-ish, a little bit under $100 less than the Ender 3 V2. And with all these features you get, it's hard to say no to this printer at that price point. Before the Prime deal, it was $230, so I still think that's an incredible price for what you get with this printer. Now, what was my experience with this thing? Well, having assembled many printers and having assembled the Ender 3 V2, which I have like multiple of, and I'm a big fan of that printer, I was very at home setting this thing up. It really didn't take too long. I actually normally watch this guy on YouTube, Just Vlad, for tips on setting up printers, and this was the first time I didn't watch him. So I just went through the manual and set it up, and it was really easy. It was very intuitive, and if you've assembled any kind of Ender 3 V2 before, this will be just as easy, if not easier. The hot end is fully assembled already, which is nice, and everything was pretty much just plug and play. It really was not a very difficult assembly. Now, some printers do already come assembled with the gantry already all connected, and all you do is just, there's a couple of bolts and then you're ready to go. This isn't quite that. You still have to put together the gantry and, bolt on the screen and everything like that, but it really wasn't that hard. Now, it didn't take me too long after I assembled it to just get it up and running and going and printing. The cool thing is this printer came with some TPU filament as opposed to PLA. If you already own PLA, which I assume you do, but maybe if it's your first time, TPU is a different kind of material and it's more of advanced material, but I guess it makes sense given that this is geared towards doing more advanced materials that require higher hot end temperatures. I didn't use the TPU yet, but I did print some PLA and I used their test model, and the test model turned out great. I did have some stringing, which I've noticed this with some of the direct drive printers, pretty much every direct drive printer that I've used. I have to tweak the retraction settings on those printers sometimes because they're not always perfect and they do leave some stringing. So what I did was I went into Cura and got my profile set up. I just basically used the Ender 3 V2 profile and then went to the hot end settings and kind of tweaked them. When I increased the retraction a bit more, I got less stringing, and that worked fine. For my first print, I printed a Pano Bridge, which is a device I got off Thingiverse. A Pano Bridge, it's kind of an expensive device for night vision where you combine two PVS-14 night vision housings into one, and it allows you to use it as a panoramic night vision goggle, one unit. And so I thought it would be kind of cool to just 3D print that. They do have that file on Thingiverse, which is pretty sweet. It uses two GoPro mounts. I haven't finished it yet, but that would be a cool thing to do a video on. If you have two PVS-14s, you can basically have panoramic night vision with this 3D printed mount. The print quality came out decent. I think I had a little bit of Z-banding as a result of maybe I need to tighten the gantry a bit more and tighten the belts, but I don't see that being a big issue. I can figure that out and get that fixed, no problem. The great thing about this printer is the build plate, the sheet, the PEI sheet. I mean, that thing, you just take it off and then you just bend it just slightly and then your print just pops right off. No more taking the old chisel and trying to hammer it off because it sticks so hard. You just kind of bend it and pop, there it goes. So that was really nice and refreshing. The display is pretty much the same as the Ender 3 V2. It's very similar. The icons might be different and the background is white as opposed to black. But if you're comfortable with the Ender 3 V2 and you've used it before, you'll be right at home with this. And even if you're not, it's a very intuitive system. Now, it doesn't come with an auto bed leveler. That's, I guess, the main thing that I would say would be a nice upgrade, but I've never had an issue just manually leveling my bed. Obviously, having an auto bed leveler is nice, and it's a nice welcome feature on any 3D printer. I do think manually leveling your bed, you do get a very, very precise level if you do it right, which I kind of prefer in ways. So far, okay, I haven't printed a bunch of stuff on this thing, and I will tell you that I have more experience with my Ender 3 V2s than any other printer, but since this is a clone of that essentially, and it just has some upgrades to it like the direct drive extruder and the higher temperature hot end, I can say that this printer looks very, very promising. Like I said, I haven't put a year of time through this thing. It's just been a couple weeks, but what I've gotten so far, I've been very happy with, and I'm really pleased to see the company's offering this hot end for such a low price with this capability of printing nylons and other filaments like TPU, etc. So far I think this is a great option if you're considering this versus an Ender 3 V2. I mean, the price is just hard to beat. It's basically an Ender 3 baseline regular price, not the V2, but you get all the V2 features plus some additional stuff. So I think that's very promising. And I think so far, Voxelab folks seem like they are a good company. Like I said, I haven't tried their customer service yet. And I also want to remind you that this is a sample size of 1. I don't think that they handpicked this thing. It just came in the box, but it's an important thing to remember is sample size of 1. But so far, in the time that I've used this thing, I'm very happy with it. Like I said, Amazon Prime's doing a lightning deal for this, which is kind of crazy. So it's $189.99 right now. I will put the link in the description. It is an affiliate link. If you want to buy it from that, it will go to help the channel and help me continue to make these reviews and other content. If not, that's totally fine too. If you'd rather not get it on Amazon, you can get it from the Voxelab website. So that's really it, you guys. The Voxelab S2, I'm very happy with it so far, and I will keep you posted on any other results I get. Thanks again for watching another episode of PSR. Love you guys, and can't stop the signal, YouTube, no matter how much you try. Take care. Pop, and pop, there it goes.